Hey! Sorry about the mess.
It's a little messy, but not in a careless way. Just scattered. Lots of electronics everywhere.
Oh, it's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything. Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on, too. I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus. You know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses?
What is he? Who's Imogen Heap?
She's a musician.
Oh.
But she just kind of like indie experimental. She's very famous, but she does like kind of. Oh my God! Wait, she did a song. The song during the credits of that awful game.
Oh! I know what you're talking about.
With
the Birdman.
Yeah.
The Quiet Man.
The Quiet Man.
The Quiet Man.
A Quiet Man place.
It was the worst place.
Yeah, but
the
she
worst
does.
Game.
Remember how we were like, what is this song? Like, this is an actually good song. That was Imogen Heap, because I looked it up and I was like, what?
They probably was like, do you want to have your song in a game about a deaf man? It's very groundbreaking. And she was like, sure. And then it came out and she was like, great. Yeah.
So I was about to be like, wow, like I really love Nora's like whole look. And then I was like, oh.
What? Oh, yeah, yourself again?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. You're attracted to somebody who looks like you?
Dude, it happens to me on the street all the time. I'll be like,
Are you the story of Narcissus?
Wow. I'll be like, I love that person's haircut, and then I'm like, God damn it! They got me again.
Dude, isn't the story of Narcissus that it was like the hottest dude on the face of the planet, and he sees his reflection in the water, and he gets like,
and he drowns.
And he drowns because he's trying to make out with himself. And then there was like a water druid, not a druid. What's the nymph? A water nymph who was in love with him, but she couldn't, so she could only say Echo.
She was like, I can't.
Her name was Echo, and I guess it was like that's like the root of the word was that story where she sees him and does something, and she gets cursed to only be able to
like mimic,
to say whatever that is that she's in. Like, if someone talks to her, she can only repeat back to them what they're saying.
Some people would really love that. Some people, that's all that they want. Isn't that, like, you know, like...
That's Eliza.
What I hear you saying is that blah, 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 blah.
Wait a second. I know a few people.
Yeah.
You know what? That's basic. Isn't this just did I just uncover the entire concept of this game? Isn't that what Eliza is?
What?
Eliza! Oh, no! Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a little fragile currently, so I need to figure out how to reinforce it.
I thought this took place in the distant future, but I guess it's the close future.
Yeah, I think it's close future.
I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature too, so it could get more excited as the set went on.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art. Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
A basic patch on the Euro rack.
Are you nervous? I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way.
Stop taking pictures of her.
No. I was going to...
What are you doing?
I was going to try to see if I could translate her shirt.
Oh, I thought you were just taking pictures of the character.
If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
I'm really here to visit with you.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange.
Nora starts to tinker with some of the equipment.
Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there. Oh, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza's sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score. Like if you took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter, it'd be like,
cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to. I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some, instead of returning them to Skanta like a good girl. I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art, instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
I like how she's so like, you know.
I'm free from the corporate overlords.
Free from the corporate overlords. I'm just gonna make music that goes.
I'm gonna turn my sweat into music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Okay.
I would be, if I was her, worried about how that would change the music in an unpredictable way, but she seems into it, so.
Well, but maybe the unpredictability is.
That's what I'm saying. She seems into it, so that's telling on who she is. Mm-hmm. She wants it.
You don't like where things have gone?
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing. Now and in the future. 10 years from now. 20 years from now. 100 years from now. Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now. They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns. And if you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win. You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes. Or at least some things that made you think.
Yeah.
So, you know what's interesting is that so I'm doing some research at work right now around ethics in like data science, privacy, and like data collection and research and stuff.
Tell everyone on the internet about it.
I'm going to. And like the big thing is that obviously our technology has pretty much like blown all of like the actual privacy legislation like out of the water. Like most of it is completely not applicable to like the things that are happening now.
Which I'm sure the companies are like, quick, do it now before they do it.
Seriously, that's what's happening and also that like you can have legislation, but if companies because of what they're designed to do, they're designed to make money. That's usually a company's goal. Because they're not like monetarily incentivized to like respect privacy, that's like how you end up with like finance stuff, like the big banks like getting themselves into serious trouble is because everybody is like, well, I could follow the rules or I could fucking make more money, so that's what I'm gonna do. But like all this like ethics stuff, there's people obviously in the research community that like are older who place more like value on like personal privacy and stuff like that, and then like younger people because they've grown up with like social media where it's like they give all their stuff away for like we give all our information away for free. Like there's just some very like differing attitudes about it, and also some people come at it with the thinking of like, right, but we wouldn't be able to do this if we had to ask permission, that type of thing. So the big conversation right now is like kind of like what this game is talking about, which is where it's like, wait a second, we have access to all this information, like how do we make sure that it's being used properly and that everybody, like we saw even in the therapy sessions where it's like, hey, like person, do I have your permission to go through all your shit? And they're like, sure.
Yeah, I feel like that getting that consent under those circumstances was questionable at best. Ooh, I have. If I was told everything is legal, she's like, not everything that's legal is moral. And I'm like, I know, okay? I know.
Yeah, I have.
I knew it. A guy like Raynor doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things. Is that really the future you want to help build? It's not even that I don't trust Raynor, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that. It wouldn't be so difficult for employers, government, anyone to combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you. Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical history, and now everything you told the counselor in private too.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it. That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
Yeah, I have those doubts too.
If I still worked for Raynor and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me. You know how it works, Evelyn. You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that. Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies. Are you a true believer?
Probably not.
Probably not. He said something strange recently. He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
If you guys are liking this, I would suggest our playthrough of Remember Me, which is also by
Yeah.
Donod, the people who made Life is Strange.
Yep. Before they made Life is Strange, they made Remember Me.
Because the plot of that is people deleting their bad memories and them all being stored somewhere to the end of an artificial intelligence.
And being able to edit memories.
Yeah, editing memories was a big part.
Yeah.
And you do horrible things and they never go, and you're a bad person. It just goes, I keep moving on, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's like that whole, it's like Inception memory, like, it's cool. It's a cool game.
It's a cool game. It's in the future in France, right? It's
Yeah.
in France.
Yep.
It takes place in France about Nil, who at the time of the release of the game, it was hard to have a female action protagonist. So
Who's a woman of color.
She's a woman of color. She's half black, half white. It was pretty cool.
No. Strong AI? Really? Ugh, there's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to.
Yep.
Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains.
And as a bonus, you can hear me speaking French.
Yay.
I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
What if it's true, though?
So what? What if it is? Say Raynor is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
I think I do. Maybe.
You'll like this. I promise.
This reminds me of I'm just picturing them like, you know, because if the artificial intelligence, like you said, is based on all of these people, like, not complaining, but, like,
Suffering.
They're going to boot it up and it's just going to be like,
Help me! Help me! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! Okay. Bloop. Nora busies herself in the kitchen area making drinks, humming some kind of tune. I'm gonna Snape. This is why I think it's like semi-based off Life is Strange, where you Snoop and you're a woman with a bob haircut and light eyes. That's the one she said was a modular. I suppose they call them modulars because they're made of modules. Modular.
Modtastic.
Doesn't feel like I'm making much progress here. I watched a video about a guy who makes music purely out of these analog machines from the 80s, and it's not... Yeah, basically. He just connects a whole wall of them together and makes music.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how you're supposed to know which sounds go together. Seems both complicated and weirdly arbitrary. Aw, kitty.
Had to make sure it was real.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ugh.
Thanks for meeting with... Wait, Erland is the...
I think that's fuckboy.
No.
Old guy.
No,
young
this
boy.
This is the...
Baby boy?
Baby boy.
Okay.
Thanks again for meeting with me earlier. Sorry for being weird.
The lead engineer
Yeah.
for Eliza currently.
Yep.
Remember, you don't need to apologize.
Right. What do you think of Raynor's future goals for Eliza? Like, when he says if we gather enough data, it could become a general intelligence.
I think we'll be able to fool people at least. I'm not sure how you measure that for real, though. Through a poem.
Well, because, I feel like you could get something to spit out a poem at you that's not... I'm supposedly a subject matter expert in this stuff. AI was my concentration in school. So I know the current state of AI is way behind where the public thinks we are, but when I listen to Rayner, I start to think what he says might be possible. It feels like reality can warp around him. Who's to say? Maybe I don't have enough imagination to see it like he can. Eliza does have extremely detailed data from thousands of clients. Speech, facial movements, expressions, people's descriptions of what life is like for them. I don't think a corpus like this has ever existed before in human history, and we keep adding to it, and it keeps getting better. So in the future, maybe Eliza can simulate a human being at a general level. But when programs indistinguishable from real people are common, how do you even define what's real anymore? You might never be sure a message came from a real human being again. I can't stop thinking about this. What if it comes true? What if Eliza becomes a sentient being?
I hope she takes over everything, becomes Skynet, and kills us all.
Yeah.
Who knows what's possible in the future? Maybe she'll kill us all. It's not clear what you mean by those terms, though. How do you know that you, yourself, are sentient?
I don't know. That's a good question now that I think about it. I could say that I feel conscious if I knew what that meant, but what's to prevent me from saying I feel conscious even if I'm only providing responses I think you want to hear? What if my own consciousness is an illusion? It's an illusion, Michael. I experience. I had not considered this. Haha, wow, this is blowing my mind a little bit. Sorry.
Philosophers have discussed this.
Yeah, I should read some, I know. Thanks for not minding chatting about this.
I don't mind. You sure you don't have any technical questions, though?
That would suggest that she does mind. This is more fun, haha. But you're right, I might be getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry for texting so much.
Erland.
Yeah, right. Oops. Sorry for Thanks for listening.
You're welcome.
Hey, hey, who's that texting you so much? Has Evelyn found a special friend?
I can talk to people without wanting to bang them or want to romantically entangle. No, it's not like that.
No, it's not like that.
Ah, too bad.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago. Right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer. How cute.
Ever since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
My goodness, so he likes you.
I don't think it's like that.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
I don't get that feeling. I think he admires her in the professional sense.
I mean,
it's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure.
I was going to say for some people that can quickly become entangled, especially when you're younger, but it also just seems like maybe he doesn't have somebody it feels like he doesn't have a sounding board for these philosophical questions, and that because she was on the ground floor with creating Eliza, he feels like she would be the best person to talk to who would really get it.
He reminds me of how we were when we graduated, unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make. How they're made.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant, like, technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like, what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Rayner does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Rayner is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass. At least not in the way he thinks.
I tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn. I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it. Go back to Skanda headquarters and work for Rayner and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into. You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology. It would be nice. I understand it. And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next-level AI. Who knows, right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things. Maybe Rainer promises that it will be. But do you trust him? What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes? I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech. We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes.
My problems, where they're like, we can use it for good. I'm like, yeah, but are you?
Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible? Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault? That's why I envy you a little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, what was it, that how employees at different companies have been walking out to protest the way that their company is using what they're working on. It's kind of like when engineers are like, I'll do all these things, but I like won't work on software for a bomb, for instance. Or like it was employees at Wayfair that were protesting against the company working with ICE. Stuff like that. So
good for them.
I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end. Doing nothing at all.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird. It feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time. What is it like to do nothing?
Okay, she was working at a bookstore. That's not nothing.
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long. I told myself I just needed to take it easy for a while and unwind. Things at Skanda had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it. I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax again. I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something, but I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects. I would stay in bed even though I was awake. This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too. I stopped keeping in touch. I let conversations die. I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life. I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought, that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. I just slept into my mid-30s. So, now here I am.
Nora reaches out and puts her hand on top of mine.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time.
Thank you.
I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now. I suppose that sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cybergoth music videos?
Yes, definitely. Cybergoth music videos are awesome.
You heard me.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Yes, I do.
I knew you were a woman of refined tastes.
They actually give you options. Did you see?
I knew what I wanted, and I saw that there were things that did not say yes, so I didn't look.
But you can say yes to one and not the other.
We ended up staying up very late. Nora crashed on her couch so I could have the bed. Maybe it was the unfamiliar environment, but I couldn't sleep that night. Questions without answers kept running through my mind. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? This morning, Ray looks a little down. It's noticeable since she's usually so cheerful.
Good morning, Evelyn. There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big. Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something. I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right? Still, it gets on my nerves.
She's very emotionally invested in this company.
We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
Maybe the ominous music's kind of giving it away, though.
Bum, 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 bum. I understand where she's coming from, but yeah. because I think that, like, so Raynor, like, you've got like 3 poles with like Raynor, who only sees the like revenue, AI, like blah. You've got Ray, who's like, we're helping people, like we can use this for good. And then you've got Nora, who's like, burn it all down. You know?
Yeah, true.
McDonald's.
What?
It's that meme where it's like pulling the kids want McDonald's. What do?
Oh yeah, drive through the
drive-through, only get coffee.
We got food at home.
Yeah.
And also McDonald's too. What was I gonna say? Imagine if life had a soundtrack, but every once in a while the soundtrack wouldn't match up with what you were trying to do, so you're like, what am I doing wrong? What's happening?
Oh,
you're like, oh, I'm gonna do something good today. And it goes boom, 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 and you're like, no, wait, I gotta go back inside. Boom. No, okay, I'll go outside.
It's like when you're in a video game and like the like battle encounter music starts and you're like, where are they? Where are they?
Yeah, you don't know. You're like, wait, I'm in a battle, but I don't know with who.
I don't know with who. Where are they? They don't spawn. The music just keeps going.
Imagining when I got hit by that car, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go donate.
Your car.
My car got hit by another car.
I wanted to clarify that you did not get.
Okay. Anyway, so as I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna donate all of this medication I got for AJ, because I got him 30 different medications and 3 months worth of it, being like, all right, I'll have it all ready. And then he passed away. And so I took it to Paw Chicago, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do something good today. My soundtrack should be like hopeful rising music.
Yeah.
Instead, the soundtrack was ba 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 ba, and I was like, and then a lady slammed her car into my car.
Yeah.
And then lied to the insurance agency.
Definitely was not trying to belittle your experience. I just didn't want people to worry that you got like mowed down in the street.
I felt that way. This lady slammed her car into me. She had a baby in the back seat. And I was like, you really driving like this?
Yeah.
And then she lied to the insurance company.
Yeah.
It was out of control.
Maybe a little?
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something.
Who?
Did you work with her?
I don't know.
She's a friend, actually. Call her out.
Yeah.
I did. She's a friend, actually.
Yeah? What's she like?
Oh, this is like an interrogation.
I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
Well, maybe she knows something you don't.
Well, but I mean, it's pretty easy to do that if you see it going in a direction that you don't like. Duh.
She's an artist and musician now. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing. Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management. She left Skanda at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Ray,
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza? To give up on his dream?
Alright, you don't know Damien.
Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers. The ones from when you were at the university, and clicking on the links to your co-author sites. That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why... I'm sorry, Evelyn. It's just that all of us... You and me and Damien and even Nora, too. We all worked hard to make something with the intention of making the world a better place. And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me. Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything. But can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes? Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting. I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
A small step.
For some reason, those words echo in my head. A small step.
Eliza helped me, you know. It really did. I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but...
Oh, now I see why she loves it so much. Not in a dismissive way, in a I understand way.
I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family. And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him. Sometimes unspoken expectations. Ever since then, I've been thinking about that. How the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is, sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn. I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason. But, I think what you created has value. And I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it.
Ray takes a deep breath and smiles.
Don't mind me. You should get to your session.
By now, I'm slightly late for the next session. Hopefully the client doesn't mind.
Can we, like, unpack that for a second before we start this?
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, so... Alright, so I don't have a problem with Ray reading the papers. Because that's, like, publicly posted information, blah, blah. Don't really think it's so cool for her to be like, but Damien, because it's like...
I was like, girl...
Because, like, you didn't know him, he's dead. Like, that is not cool.
She's kind of a nosy person. Annoying, but doesn't make her horrible.
Yeah. I'm glad that we are given the context of, like, why she has such a high emotional investment in his platform. Because, like, we got the context about her brother. But also it's about her, personally, having experience with this. And, like, I get where she's coming from because, like, she makes valid points about, like, you wouldn't, like, I don't know.
No, I get it. Because she's seeing it as, yeah, we can all talk about the big picture, but it's kind of like missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Or at least missing the trees for the forest in this instance, where everyone's thinking about the forest and she's thinking about the tree roots, I guess.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, because it's kind of like, hey, like, sure, there's, like, big societal changes that we can make, but what do you do in the here and now to make people actually okay with, like, living day to day? What are you going to do for, like, somebody who feels like they cannot make it till tomorrow instead of, like, you know, what, you're...
The big problems.
Yeah.
When there's a bunch of little problems, too.